Welcome to the Life in Michigan podcast. Life in Michigan is more than an online magazine. We share the stories, experiences, and vibrant personalities that make the Great Lakes state truly unique. In this podcast, we bring you inspiring, heartwarming, and sometimes unexpected conversations with people who call Michigan home. From the rugged beauty of the Upper Peninsula to the bustling creativity of Kalamazoo, we'll cover the stories and define what it means to live, work, and play in Michigan. Welcome back to the Life in Michigan podcast. Today we are talking to Rue Morgan, the founder of Eclipse Yoga based in Chelsea, Michigan. We met Rue at a Washtenaw Business Association meeting and quickly became friends. We are super excited for you to meet her and learn more about her full moon paddles and her work with Parkinson's patients. Oh, there it goes. Hey, Rue Morgan, welcome to the Life in Michigan podcast. We had a false start and we're back now actually recording this thing. So thank you so much for being part of the show.
And so as always, it is a pleasure seeing you and Brenda. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we know you through the Washtenaw Business Association and your business, Eclipse Yoga, but probably anybody listening may not know that. So maybe you can give a recap of who you are and what is Eclipse Yoga.
I am Rue Morgan. I am outside of Chelsea. I grew up here, moved away, came back in the business world a very long time. Took my teacher training for yoga and I didn't know why. And then things didn't work out so well. Well, I just got tired of how things were in the corporate world. Then I said, this is what I want to do. So I formed Eclipse Yoga and surprise, teach yoga, stand-up paddleboard yoga, paddle fit, fascia release, work with people with Parkinson's, do yoga retreats. Hopefully I'm going to get into sup surfing this summer and be able to add that in.
Wow.
And I'm always trying to grow and change. And then in the non-recording, Brenda had asked if I had a business partner.
Yeah, I was going to ask that again.
So yes, I have a business partner. I brought her on in 2017. She is in Clawson, so is like the Royal Oak, Troy, Clawson area. I'm Ann Arbor, Brighton, Plymouth, Jackson area. We do not have a studio. I do have a room downtown Chelsea that I see private clients, but otherwise we go to people's homes, we go to people's businesses, we go to events or work with places.
So it's like pop-up yoga. You know, you have pop-up record shows. There's pop-up yoga, sort of, right? Kind of.
Exactly. So yeah, like I have a detox coming up May 8th, which is Mother's Day weekend at Revel Run.
Oh,
I just got it on the website. It is pop-up yoga. That is what we do. Maybe we should change your name.
Yeah. It's pop up. You go where you're needed, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. I've got a bunch of questions about all of the things you just talked about. But before we get into all of that, I was curious about you have Kathryn and you have Kathryn Rue Morgan on a lot of your stuff. Is Rue your middle name or is that a nickname? Like what? Tell me about.
It is a nickname. It is a nickname. So I lived and worked in Australia back in college. And then when I came home, I was working banquets. And these guys thought they were tougher than me. And I was in really good shape. I could carry trays as heavy as them. And I didn't take rough. And there might have been some drinking if you've ever worked in the bar or banquet industry. The one place had an Australian bartender, and sometimes I get an accent. So my name tag came and it said Rue. And actually, Jamie, my business partner, she was in on the naming of me. It's original, it's unique, it's easy.
Yeah.
So, but because I'm from Chelsea and I'm back here and none of my family calls me Rue, it's all Kath, short for Kathryn. It just depends on how you know me. So.
Excellent.
I get that. I have a bunch of different names I go by. It could be Mom. It could be Brenda. It could be Bren. I know if somebody calls me Bren, they're probably my sister or a family member.
Yeah,
Um, if it's B, it's generally a friend. Like it just depends on the context. You never know.
that's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Rue, in your Eclipse Yoga on your website, you've got basically a no judgment policy, basically saying that everybody, all professions, body types, political views, life choices, there's just no judgment. Why is that important to you, and why is it on your website?
Because when people have a conception of what yoga is, right? I have to be able to touch my toes. I have to be fit. I get all the time, I'm not flexible. And especially because we teach so many different things, but everybody's welcome. And one of my public classes, there's an individual there that's more on the heavy side and cannot like do all the poses. And it's a faster paced, more advanced class.
Mm-hmm.
That individual is still welcome. Do what you can, and one day you might be able to, one day you might never be able to. I don't care. I don't know why you're coming or what you're getting out of it, and that is for you. It is not for me to judge, and it's not for me to say like, oh, look at me, I can help solve all your problems and make you a better person. And I don't want to rule the world. I say when I rule the world everything will be great. I don't want to. I want to be able to share techniques so you can get in touch with yourself and find acceptance with who you are. And we're all different. So to me, that's very important to have on there.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's great because, like you said, everybody has different abilities, and it shouldn't necessarily be a barrier to you being able to try to do yoga. Because we do it every morning, at least some kind of stretching or movement, and it's just helpful. It makes you feel better. So whatever your body style or type or limits or lack of limits, it's great to do.
Yeah. And it was funny that I think it was yesterday or last night we take improv class, and our improv teacher was doing like this little sketch on like kind of like yoga, and she was like doing namaste, and like it was very like crystally, like there's crystals and like there's all of this like like feels like voodoo magic that happens in a yoga studio. And I think that's what you're trying to say, is that you don't have to be part of that culture to be there, right?
Exactly. Like, um, a lot of the yoga world is vegan. I'm not. I'm an omnivore. Um, I'm not judging you for that choice. Don't judge me for my choice. And as long as you're not harming yourself or harming someone else,
Mm-hmm.
your choices are your choices. And I also teach in the real world. So, you've been in my classes. How many Sanskrit words did you hear me say? Um,
Right.
you don't. I speak English. I try to, how can you apply this in your everyday life? Okay, that's great. You can breathe deep on the mat, but if you're stressed in your everyday life and you can't recognize that and add that breath work in,
Mm.
have I really helped you in your life? Um, so that's kind of my goal, is quality of life. And so that's anybody who you are, small moments in time.
Yeah. So how do you like you how do you get somebody that's a busy, like, you know, works all the time, has got a super busy schedule? How do you convince them that 10 minutes of breathing can be much more productive than answering 10 more emails in the next, half hour? Let's take 10 minutes to breathe and cleanse. Like, is that part of what you do? Do you help people see the value of spending a little time centering?
Yes. So, as I mentioned, being a yoga therapist, we trained at Henry Ford Hospital in the pain clinic and cancer wards. You're not rolling out mats. You're not putting on spandex. It's sharing techniques that you can do in your everyday life, to help manage stress, anxiety, pain. And so a lot of that is when you're in a hospital setting, and in order to be in there, we have to prove, and you have to have numbers, because that's part of the hospital game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like we would ask on a scale 1 to 10, what is your pain? What is your anxiety? What is your stress? And if I only got 5 minutes with that person, I made sure to ask them. And then at the end, did you notice an increase or a decrease or any changes? It might have been an increase. We're hoping not, but this isn't a cure all, and there's tons of different techniques. But a lot of times, when you have people identify with numbers like that, so people who are very busy and how can this apply in my everyday life, and then you only take 5 minutes and they notice a decrease. When they get stressed again, it might not be right away, but it plants a seed. And a lot of times that's what it is. It's just planting a seed. And who knows, it might be like in the Antarctic and it takes decades to germinate. Maybe it pops right away.
Yeah.
You never know. So yeah, a lot of times that's the easiest if people can actually measure it, and instead of just like guiding them through, but explaining what you're doing, why you're doing, and how it can affect them, and then they self-reflect and report. A lot of times resonates more with people.
So tell me more about the detox retax. I have wanted to get over to that. And I was looking at your website, and I was like when is she going to plan another one? And you've got one over more Mother's Day weekend, is that right?
Yes.
So
So May 8th. Yes, May 8th is a Friday night, 6 p.m. at Revel Run. You come and you do yoga. And again, it's an all level yoga. A lot of times there's a lot of people who don't do much yoga, or it's a lot of couples where, okay, the husband's going to join in because there's alcohol afterwards. So sure, I'll try it. It's a lot of fun that we have. I add in fascia release. If people are unfamiliar with that, think of a foam roller or getting a massage. I use the balls and I incorporate that in. And we do yoga, and then you get a drink ticket and go downstairs and have a cocktail, mocktail, beer, whatever you want. There's usually food trucks. There's sometimes bingo music or live music. The places they do it, they're always family friendly, so people can hang out there. Even if they don't want to come to the yoga, they can hang out downstairs or upstairs, wherever I'm at. And then everybody can meet up together afterwards. And if you're on your own, people are very welcoming, like, oh, hey, come sit with us. So you don't have to come with friends. If you just want to come, you will find people to hang out with. It might be me. I don't bite. So
so Revel Run is a really cool space. Yeah, that's in Chelsea. It's like it's an old golf course, right?
old golf course that burnt down and they rebuilt it. The upstairs is the overlook where we're at. The downstairs is the foxhole, and those doors actually roll up. So in the summertime, it's a fabulous place to go hang out. It's family friendly, dog friendly. There's like 129 acres you can walk around. It's also an equestrian park, so there's a lot
Oh,
of horse shows taking place that people can go to, and they're free.
wow.
Oh wow.
That's cool. I didn't realize that
I
it was equestrian. It makes sense. They've got all that acreage there.
yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the golf course is gone, is now an equestrian. Jim and Darla, who purchased it, great people. They had a different place in Ann Arbor and purchased that, and it's part of a blue ribbon show, or I don't know. It's huge. They get tons of equestrian people and events in there. It's kind of cool to go check out and see, or just, hey, where are these horses walking all around?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I
That's
didn't
awesome.
realize it. I mean, I've been to a few events there, but they're like more like networking events. I've not, and we need to get out there and just go check out the food trucks and just like hang out on a nice summer evening and just chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe do
Yep.
some yoga.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be
And we do
perfect.
some yoga. So yeah, in the summertime, I also have sup and sip there, which is stand-up paddleboard on the ponds in the back. And then same thing, cocktail, mocktail, whatever afterwards. And surrounded by woods, and that's a great place. And then on the other side of Chelsea, Robin Hills is open back up.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that's a great. Yeah,
And
another fantastic venue.
yep, same thing. Doors roll up, huge patio out there. And I will be back there for Sup and Sip this summer again. They're doing a couple of brunches. So Memorial Day, kind of like a big kickoff to the summer. Hopefully it's going to be warm. They'll have a brunch and I'll have Sup and Sip in the morning there. So a couple of different places. If you haven't been, they're fabulous places to check out.
Yeah. So, speaking,
Tell me about what sup is. I mean,
yeah,
I think I know
I was
what
gonna
sup
say,
is, but
yeah.
combining that with yoga, like tell me about that.
Sup, stand up paddleboard.
Ah,
Okay.
And kind of like how you asked, no judgment, Chuck, right? If you look on my SUP page, stand up paddleboard, you can stand up. You don't have to, and especially in my class. So I teach you, it's slow paced. Everybody's like, I have no balance. My
yeah.
boards are um
So you don't
very
have to have a
stable.
board. You'll supply the board.
I supply the board, I supply all the equipment.
Oh, cool.
I actually teach you how to paddle properly because most people have no clue. We spend 5 or 10 minutes going over safety. I think that's very important. A lot of people are very unfamiliar
Hmm.
with safety, like life vests, leashes, high winds. We go over that and how to paddle, and then you go out and we paddle a little bit if you want to. If you're kind of freaked out, you can drop an anchor, so you're also anchored up. You're not floating all over. Um, at Revel Run and Robin Hills, it's ponds. They're large ponds, uh, but then I also have Silver Lake and Island Lake, and that's bigger area. But we anchor up so you're not floating out all over. And start slow. Start on your back. Start however's comfortable. Just connect with your breath. They're finally realizing, like, hey, being in nature can
Oh,
help
yeah,
reset your mind.
yeah,
People don't realize, like back in the 50s and 60s in the Berkshires, the sanitariums, all they did was send those women out into nature who probably had, like, postpartum depression or something, but it wasn't diagnosed. They went in nature, they calmed down, and they went back to city life. We belong in nature. We're part of this world, and just coming and connecting. I've had people who are like, I'm stressed, I'm just going to float. I don't care. If that's what you need, that's what you do. So yeah, I guide you through step by step. We start on like your knees, supported poses. If you want to come to standing, I have some regulars, like they're standing, go for it.
yeah,
It's all what you want, but at the end, everybody's always like, oh, why do I feel so good? And I'm like, because you were just in nature and you slowed down. You didn't have your phone, you didn't have a computer.
yeah,
You got to do what felt good for you.
yeah.
So
And you were probably, for either a first time or someone that's done it a lot, just the mindfulness. You're just focused on that, right? You're not thinking about anything else. You're just on the water, on the board, and thinking about that. That's all that is hang, going on. How long do those sessions last? How long is a typical?
it's our class.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I want to do that because I know we've told you, but the the one time we did a stand up paddleboard was down in Savannah, Georgia. It was windy as hell, and we were floating all over the place. And then she's like, "Oh, try to do a downward dog or just stand up." It was impossible. It was like I just want to try it again where it's not like life threatening.
Yeah, you fell in and then you
I
had
did.
this horrible rash all
Yeah,
over your body
from the murky
from the
water. It's like, oh
murky
my god.
water. It was just
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah, yeah. No, I test all the water. So like even the ponds, like years when it was COVID is actually when I started at Robin Hills and everything was shut down, right? They
Yeah.
were looking, and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I hop in your pond? And he's like, go for it. So I went swimming because I have sensitive skin, no rashes. I
Okay.
don't do it on the Huron River because they put
Yeah.
in
No.
walk-off stations. And I'm like,
No.
I don't trust me not getting some weird rash. I can just see something growing on my face going, hi, come join me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work well. So no, I do fresh water, fresh springs, no creepy crawlies. So
Oh, that's awesome.
So what does, the water offer that a solid floor can't offer when you're doing like these kinds of activities, like out for yoga, for balance?
Well, you have to use stabilizer muscles. I tell people, even if you're just sitting on the boards, you have to engage your core more just because there's some movement. So there's a little bit of wiggle, right? Even if it's very subtle on a stable board. Just sitting on the boards helps improve the stabilizers. It's working muscles in ways that you normally don't do. But there's also a softness. And how, like Chuck mentioned, you're focusing just on you. You do, because, okay, step your right foot forward and your left foot and take them wide. And we use the width of the board. So we're not lining up. I have some people who do, but they've practiced for years.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes you aware how unbalanced you are, but how quickly your body can rebalance. The other thing, if you have like an injury, my best, no, guess hip, I shouldn't be saying who they are. Anyway, someone I know, yes, that's it, has a leg that's a half inch shorter than the other one. When I first went out and did my training, I did it once. I fell in love. I got it. I got the stroke. Just that's it. The next year, I took and signed up and did the training. And then I bought paddle boards, called this person and said, hey, we're going out. And of course, I have no balance. I got
Yeah.
one leg shorter, blah, blah, blah. We go out, we do it, come back. And this person's like, my hips don't hurt. Because that little difference of the board, that give, allows you to find balance. So like you can create, so you don't have to have this perfect body to be out there. And all of us have one side that's tighter or the other, and that there's a softness to the boards, let alone there's a fluidity that you can connect with. The earth is 70% water. You're 70% water. Connecting with what is natural for us. We come in a fluid sac, unless you've had some traumatic incident. For most people, water is extremely calming. Why do they have all those water sounds to calm down, right?
Right.
Is connecting to the water, and you get to do it. Savasana, the peaceful pause that we have at the end, you're laying on the board, your fingertips can just be in the water, just touching, connecting, floating.
Nice.
I can't wait to try it.
I know. I'm looking forward to
You were
that.
telling us, I can't remember, I think it was, you've mentioned it a couple times. You do one where the moon rises and you do
Mm-hmm.
like a midnight or an evening float. Talk about that for a minute.
So that is my full moon paddle, and now it is full moon paddle camping. So May 30th, there's a full moon, and then August 28th, there's a full moon. So the weekend after Memorial Day and the weekend before Labor Day this year on Saturday night. I get a campsite at Bruiner, a couple of campsites. Again, everything's provided. We have dinner, just chit chat, and then we hop on the boards and we paddle out into the chains. You're wearing life vest, you have leashes on, the boards are lit, everything is to safety protocol. Again, if you need to be on your knees or seated, that's okay. And then we paddle into Blind Lake, and you just watch the full moon rise.
That's awesome.
And when I did it a couple years ago with some friends who were my guinea pigs, I'm like, do you guys want like a guided meditation out here? Do you want some yoga? And they're like, no, we just want to sit and be. And I think we were out there for probably close to 2 hours. And finally I'm like, okay, we're going back. And they're like, we don't want to. And I'm like, I don't care. My butt's getting sore sitting here. But coming back, paddling, there's no boats. There's the full moon over top of you. The only sound is the paddle in the water and the bullfrogs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And then we got back. It was low key, like have a bonfire, sit around, have a beer or whatever, get up in the morning. I had cooked breakfast. Everybody again, like, do you want to go out? Do you want this? Do you want that? And people were like, no, I just want to like chill and have downtime, because we are always go, 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 right? So
Right.
it's all about just chilling, connecting, relaxing. And yeah, It's freaking awesome.
It does. So, like, if we were to come, we have Harold, our Subaru, and we have like a pop-off tent that comes off the back. We could use that at your site.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. But people, if they don't, they need to bring their own tent.
Well, I put on when you sign up, do you have your own tent? Because I actually have my tent. I personally have two tents. One is a 10-person tent. One is like a small tent. And then I have access to another 10-person tent and a couple of backpacking tents. So I can even provide tents and air mattresses if people don't have them.
Oh,
Wow, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to check out another thing to get on the
I
calendar.
know. Yeah. Another thing. I love it though. That sounds good. Sounds fun. We're all about, doing something different and new.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Rue, earlier you mentioned the fascia release, and I know that we've tried that during one of the sessions we had with you. Could you talk a little bit more about what that is and what that means for folks?
So fascia, if you think of an orange, people are vegan listening. I'll use the orange reference. So when you have that the peel on it, and then you peel it off, and inside you have your slices, and then inside the slices you have your little pulps, and even the pulps have a little bit of covering around it. So that covering in your body is cells, and that covering is fascia. And then like the cells bind together and you have muscles and tissues, and there's another layer of fascia around that. So our bodies have fascias interlinked all the way through it. They're now realizing it's the most sensory organ that you have. They used to think it was your skin was the largest. It's actually the fascia, the superficial, right underneath your skin. It surrounds all of your muscles, and there's a gelatinous layer in between. So if you've ever had a massage and somebody says, "Oh, you have a bad knot in there," your muscles are not tying themselves in knots. It's just not possible. What it more than likely is your cells have gotten dehydrated. You've gotten some stiffness, and then they've started to like clump together, and that forms that in there. And it all depends on what layers they are and stuff. And when they rub into it, it releases it out, and it releases the tension into your muscles. And that is what fascia releases is you're doing it for yourself. I teach you how to do it. And the difference is you get to have control. How much pressure do you apply? Where do you apply it at? I've taught people with fibromyalgia, and they love it because you might have part on your arm that is flaring up. If you get a massage and they rub the whole massage, it's going to make it worse. Whereas you can roll outside of the areas that are painful, and it helps release the tension into the body. And they're self-reporting that fibromyalgia isn't as bad, is not flaring up as bad, or they can control it. Science is getting on board. They're starting to do all kinds of studies with it. It's huge in helping fluid in your circulation. So particularly in your feet, neuropathy, the tightness, if you have plantar fasciitis, helping to release that out. It can be preventative. So you're somebody who works out all the time and your muscles are extremely tight. There's a good chance you're going to get a tear or a strain. This can help keep things looser. People with neuropathy are self-reporting to me that they're getting a feeling in their feet that they haven't had in years, or they can wear knee socks and they never could. And I'm looking at their calves going, those are still big. But again, it's quality of life, right? Like every little bit helps. And so, I have a shoulder issue the other day. I had to play volleyball. I rolled it for like 5 minutes. I didn't have to take an hour. I didn't have to make an appointment. You can do this in your home, in your car, at your work. You and Brenda, you do it. What do you have to say? I'm going to shut up. You have to talk.
Well, so we bought those the fascia release balls that you had they're like slightly smaller than a tennis ball, I would say, for like describing that. And we use them every day, like on our feet, because both of us have had plantar fasciitis, in the past, and it's just preventative maintenance. And it's been very helpful for just preventative maintenance in general in terms of like, your, like you mentioned, your shoulders. You can roll on that ball, or if you got a tight spot in your hip or anything like that, it just, and like you said, you only need a couple of minutes. You don't have to spend hours doing it, and you can do it any time during the day because you can take those things around with you. If you go traveling around and go, oh, I got a little problem. Yeah, so you've kind of hooked us on those things. You're like, all right, let's get these little ball out. I mean, people may be like, what? Why are you breaking these out at the, at the movie theater? But whatever.
I use them on my neck quite a bit. It's part of my regular routine. And it's really helpful, like just to sort of just like lay and just like, put them behind my neck. I know I'm demonstrating to you, everybody on the video, that nobody can see but you and
Yeah,
Truck. But
right in that
I
little
lay on the I
zone,
lay
right
on the
the
floor.
base of your skull.
Yeah, put them at right on a brick on a yoga block, and just like let there, and then pretty soon I can just almost feel like my neck release and relax if I give it a second, and it feels so nice. It's just a nice way to like get my body ready to like get abused for the rest of the day. Right? Yeah.
Right.
So you also do some Parkinson stuff, advocacy and work with people that have Parkinson's. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I was teaching some women. It was at a gym and then at their house. So it was like a private yoga, and the one wife was like, you need to work with my husband, and he was apprehensive, and he had a hip replacement, and like he pulled himself up the stairs when I met him. So literally would put one foot on the step, reach the handrails, pull himself up, and that's how he got up. When he reached that point, he was like, "Yeah, I'll try yoga at this point. I'll try anything. I'm afraid I'm gonna end up in a wheelchair." And we started doing yoga, and probably within 2 years, he could walk up and down the stairs.
Wow.
And granted, they could afford to pay me coming in, 4 or 5 times a week. So it was a good regimen. He probably had Parkinson's at that time. He wasn't actually diagnosed for maybe like 4 years after we had been working together. And so then I started doing research, like how can this help this individual? I also became a rock steady boxing coach, which is non-contact boxing for Parkinson's. You have to have a diagnosis. They have it at the Chelsea Wellness Center. You can look it up online and find it all over the country, actually. And then I also became a Power Moves instructor. It's PWRMOVE. And again, you can find, they also work with physical therapists and yoga instructors to improve movement for that. And I have done a 40-hour yoga therapy training for Parkinson's. So all of this combined, I take and I work in with the individual who I started with, unfortunately, is not with us anymore. But until about the last 6 months of his life, he still had improvements. And I mean, we're talking like 7, 8 years.
Wow.
So people hear they have Parkinson's, and they think it's a death sentence. It sucks, but it's not. There are ways to delay the symptoms. There's all kinds of treatments that are coming out for it. They know more about the medication, working with different things. So like I have a list that I share out with people if they ask for it, like the Rock Steady Boxing, the Power Moves, where our support groups. There's some places have dancing for Parkinson's or spinning for Parkinson's, different exercises. They know that movement is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
I also add in the fascia release. If you think about it, it's a neurological disease, and it affects not only the brain, but the muscles and the organs. So when the nerves are tensing up and you're getting, sometimes it's tremors, sometimes it's tightness, like the fascia release for them is really important because it can help release that tension yoga therapy like a yoga nidra, which is also known as yoga sleep. We don't actually sleep, but it's like a guided meditation, getting the body to calm down, to
Uh-huh.
get it out of like that agitated state can help them with their energy levels, with not getting in a cascading effect of it's tight and it keeps getting tighter and I know it's tighter but I don't know how to calm it down and I don't want to go out in public because it's a bad day. I'm moving all over the place. Well, then you stay at home, then you're in depression, then you have anxiety, and it, it can have many aspects to it. In regards to the emotional things, I don't deal with that. That's not what I'm trained in. But the other things of teaching techniques, how to relax, how
Yeah.
either physically or mentally, having the movement so that you can keep your muscles moving and working. That's what I work with people on. And it's really scary because early onset has increased 50% in the last 5 years. That's people getting diagnosed before the age of 50.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
And some of these support groups, I've seen people in their 30s who have recently had children.
Wow.
Now you gotta now you have this disease. How do I live with it? How do I continue to keep going with it? And getting more research into it because more people are getting diagnosed earlier and earlier, and the numbers are increasing is extremely important. I'm not in the research side of it, but on how to manage the symptoms or delay symptoms from being full blown right away,
Mm-hmm.
that is what I try to help people with.
That's great. I mean, like you mentioned, it's a terrible disease, but if you can find some methods to at least help physically, that's super important, I have to imagine.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and then some of the times when I'm in, like I have a couple right now, and the one has Parkinson's, the other doesn't. But like, okay, you need home care. Things have gotten you're more youthfully challenged. You've gotten sick. You're getting overwhelmed. These symptoms are coming on. I have people that I recommend for like here, you might be 1 or 2 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't do that, but having those connections or encouraging people to do that, or even like I just went to CRC in Silver Maples. I picked up brochures. Look at them. At some point, you're going to need them. Are you prepared? It's in the back of your mind. Just helping them with that, letting them know you don't have to make decisions. It's okay if you're upset. It's okay to be down, maybe
Yeah.
take time for yourself. So it's not just the people with Parkinson's, it's also their spouses and their family members that I
Yeah.
work with, because it affects the whole family. It's,
Yeah.
it's not just that individual.
Yeah. It's especially caregivers. That's a factor with anybody dealing with caregiving, whether you're, a Parkinson's, somebody in your family has Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or cancer or whatever, some kind of really traumatic life event. The caregiver is just as stressed or more stressed and typically doesn't have an option or doesn't take the option to care for themselves. So it's really important for them too to find these ways to relax, to do things that they can do, while they're taking care of somebody, right? Because they could spend 5 minutes on themselves, making sure that they're able to care for their loved ones.
And it's very important. And they get in the catch 22.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad because I have this disease and it's affecting that. I feel bad because I can't make you better.
Mm-hmm.
And 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 over time that wears. You need to be able to talk about that. You need to be able to take those breaks. So again, like a couple of people I'm working with, I'm like, you mentioned counseling before. Maybe you should see someone or go to a
Oh,
group.
yeah.
And encouraging him that it's okay to take breaks for yourself. It's okay to get angry about this. Don't get angry at one another. It's the disease and it's not you. It's not them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just need someone to encourage you to say, hey, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
um
for sure.
So you've mentioned a couple times that you are a certified yoga therapist. So how does a I mean, and I think we've talked about it a few times already, but how does a yoga therapy session differ from a standard, vinyasa. How do you say that?
Vinyasa.
Vinyasa. I think I got it right that time.
Yeah.
Class. Like I've taken those. There's a lot of flow, a lot of things going on. Sometimes it's very like it's the same class over and over again. How is yours different when it's a therapy session versus one of those sessions?
So how I mentioned when you asked, like somebody who's busy and how do they do that? Am I training? Like I said, was in the hospital. I actually helped an individual get a nerve ablation. So when they go in, they burn off the spinal one using breathing techniques and no anesthesia. And granted, he had had a yoga therapist in before, and he still had pain. We can't cure pain, but you have a tendency to focus on it, right? You know when you've had an injury, and then that's what you focus on, and your pain levels can get out of control, but the pain hasn't increased. It's just your mind's focus on it. If that makes sense. Like I'm
Yeah.
not dismissing pain. That's real. We all have it, and people have varying levels of it. But when that's what you're focusing on, or that's when you're defining your life, finding techniques to be able to let you focus on something else. So then maybe that pain isn't as high because the pain is still there. It's not going to be zero. When I work with people, where's your pain level? Okay, if it's at a 10, more than likely it's not going to be zero at the end, but it can be a 7 or an 8. Can I now function better in my life? So a lot of that is different techniques, and their breathing techniques. It might be mindful walking. It might be going outdoors and doing a mindful outdoors experience, or if it's cold inside, touching plants. There might be movement, but we're not doing the poses. We're not doing the flows. So this is sharing techniques. My mentor, we called it Krogerable. Meaning Kroger, right? You can do these in the checkout line and Kroger. There's one where I teach people with like jaws and softening the jaws, and you do that, and people are like, I didn't realize I was clenching my jaw. Okay, now you've recognized that in your everyday life, you can recognize when you're clenching your jaw. Here's a technique to be able to help you soften that. Everything's related. So you clench your jaw, and then your throat starts pulling in, as I'm showing you guys, and no one on the podcast can see. But your throat gets tight, your shoulders get tight, they get hunched up by your ears, and everything's related, right? So if I can learn to relax my jaw, can I learn to relax my shoulders? Can I have less physical tension? If I have less physical tension, am I going to have less mental or emotional tension? If you think about it, right? Like it's mental or emotional that you put into your body. If I'm releasing into my body, is it backwards? Yes, everything is all connected, right? So it's sharing techniques like that. It's observing people and seeing how they respond to techniques you're sharing. Some people might get more stressed, other people calm down, but then also having them recognize what they're feeling, or if there's an increase or decrease, having them connect to what's going on. So yoga therapy is much more interactive, even if it's in a group setting. You go to a yoga class and you're on the mats, and you normally shut up and the teacher goes blah 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 for an hour, right?
Right.
Unless you're in my class, and well, I'm snarky and people make comments and we laugh, but life is serious. Yoga should be fun. Yoga therapy is much more interactive, to having you recognize what you're doing in your body, and it's not really about doing any poses. Yeah, we might have some movement, we might have some stretches. It all depends on where you're at. I've worked with people in wheelchairs. Okay, they're not going to be standing and doing a warrior one. It's just not possible. But you got a lot of anxiety, or you got a lot of pain. Can I help you with techniques to release that out? So that's yoga therapy. Isn't about the poses. We might have some, whereas in regular yoga classes, they focus more on the poses.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Very much. So you mentioned a little earlier about the like moonlight retreats, and I believe you also do other types of rest and relaxation retreats. Is that correct? And what are those like? Is that different from the moonlight ones?
Well, the full moon, we just paddle. It's very small. Maximum is like 10
Yeah.
people. I did my first international retreat in Costa Rica this year. I'm working on having another one in 2027. I got to nail down the details. June 19th, we have our annual rest and relaxation retreat, and that's on the west side of the state. It's about a half hour north of Kalamazoo. And you just get out of your car, and it's DNR land that's leased, and the whole entire place is just surrounded by trees. And you are in nature, and it's cabins that you're in. You can do shared cabins, you can do your own cabin. I bring the paddle boards. You can try paddleboard if you want. We have land yoga. This year we're adding in a couple of new teachers. One's from Kalamazoo, one's from Clawson. So it's not just my business partner and I. Um, my business partner, Jamie, she also teaches original strength, which I don't know. I can't really explain. I don't do it. I didn't do the study on it. And it's kind of like going back to the basics when how babies move, going
Oh,
back
okay.
to that.
Yeah.
Um, but then I have a fascia release in there. There might be some guided meditations, and it's just that rest and relaxation. It's on a trailhead, so you can mountain bike, you can go hiking if you want. We put up hammocks. Some people, it's vegetarian and omnivore. You can bring alcohol. We have bonfires at night. Some people are like, yeah, no, I saw you doing yoga. That's good enough for me. I'm just going to hang in the hammock. And we're like, okay. And
Yeah.
other people bring their mountain bikes and do every single class that they can. It's whatever you want, but I know personally I hate when I go away for a weekend and I gotta go and I gotta go and I gotta go, and you come home and you're like, oh my god, I need a nap.
Yeah.
I
I
need,
got to
I need
recover
a
from my vacation or whatever it was.
yeah, I need a
Often.
vacation from my vacation.
Yeah.
So that's
You
at
know,
it's at Long Lake Outdoor Center. Is that the where that one is at?
yep, Long Lake Outdoor Center. It's part
Okay.
of Yankee Springs.
Oh, Yankee Springs. Oh, I've always wanted to
Yep,
go
so
out
it's
there.
the Yankee Springs if you're familiar with that, DNR land.
Mhm.
It's on Long Lake, which is why it's Long Lake Outdoor Center by Gunline. And the lake is very shallow. So we can do the paddleboard, but there is a DNR access, but you can't put any big boats in there. And because it's so shallow, like you get a few fishermen and that's it. So basically, it's like having our own lake.
Nice.
We rent the hose center out, so we have the hose space with nobody else hanging out or interrupting. And yeah, I come home exhausted from working my butt off, but
I was gonna
I'm
say
hoping
yeah.
everybody else comes is completely relaxed at the end of it.
We need to get that on our calendar. I think it conflicts with something, but
We'll figure it out.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So this is my 10-minute warning that we're getting ready. We're getting ready to wrap it up here in a few minutes. Can you believe we've been talking almost an hour? It goes so fast.
It does.
It does. So is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you were hoping we would ask about, or you just thought of it just now? You're like, oh, I want to mention X, Y, and Z. It could be a call out to somebody, a friend.
um, I don't know.
Okay.
To everybody who's ever come to my classes, who's ever passed on the word, thank you. So like you guys, thank you. To my business partner, Jamie. And same thing, like we also do festivals. So I think we're going to be at the Lavender Festival in Michigan. That's up in the Thumb area. I do the run Woodstock and teach
Oh
there.
yeah.
Yeah, we
And
ran that
then I have
once.
Yeah.
social vines coming up. So, but yeah, I'm very fortunate. I am so grateful. I have a lot of regulars, a lot of people who come. I'm going to be teaching some classes starting in May at Washtenaw Community College.
Oh
It
cool.
was a woman who came to one of my detox retox and was talking to one of the HR people, who, when she called me, she was like, okay, my friend doesn't really like yoga, and she talked about you. So I think we would like you to come. So you might have only come one class. Some people, they come to help support me. So grateful because I wouldn't be where I'm at and what I'm doing and keep trying all these different crazy things. Oh, that was the other thing. Sup surfing. I don't have it yet.
Oh,
Oh,
That's where you actually go out on the paddleboard on the west side of Michigan. There's waves and surfing. A lot of people don't know that. So I'm going to see if I can not break my neck. I will fall off my board, but you'll
yeah.
be attached. That's something new that I'm going to try this year. You can paddle the Sulaks up
Oh,
north.
wow.
People
yeah.
are unaware. I plan to go do that and then hopefully have a trip doing that. So
That would be fun.
Yeah.
yeah, gratitude for everybody for supporting, encouraging, coming. And then, yeah, there's still more crazy stuff that I want to try and do. And yeah, we don't have time because I don't have it up because I didn't have a place, but I do. But in the fall, I also teach trapeze yoga.
Oh,
Oh,
You're not on a trapeze, it's in a hammock, but it has handles on it. So it's kind of like TRX meets yoga in a hammock.
wow.
Um, it, it,
Crazy.
yeah, so
it sounds fun though.
Yeah, it does.
it is so
Remember,
much fun.
we didn't do trapeze yoga, but we went to this sound bath out in, where was that at?
That was in California near
It was in
Joshua Tree.
California. Yeah. Josh, yeah. We went to a sound bath and it was crazy. It made you cry. Like you were laying in this thing and you just got overwhelmed. And yeah, and they had the reason why I'm talking about it is out in their
Out
yard,
their yard, they
they
had
had all of
hammocks.
these hammocks and
Yeah,
people would be like, chilling out in the hammocks and it was crazy.
it was.
I have looked at like learning gongs,
Oh, yeah.
and so yeah,
The
like
bowls,
out,
yeah,
yeah, outdoors, the bowls. I've done a couple, not so much, but the
yeah,
actual like gongs and the chimes.
yeah.
But I'm just thinking like one of the full moon paddles,
Oh, yeah.
or like doing a detox retox. Like Robin Hills has the outdoor amphitheater during a full moon, like in the fall, and
Yeah.
having gongs added in. Not there yet, but it is on the to-do list,
Oh, it's
along
Excellent.
with drumming because there's yoga with drumming, but drumming is also really good for Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun and you can move and they know it helps improve your dopamine. So you guys know me. I'm always,
Yeah.
hey, I got this. I'm not stopping.
That's fantastic. We love it.
it, and businesses can contact you to come in and do a session. Like, I'm assuming that's what you're doing at Washtenaw Community College. You're going into their HR department, or are you teaching something there?
I'm actually teaching for the Lifelong Learning Center there, so I'll have public classes.
Oh,
But
good.
yes, I do go into businesses. I currently only have one corporate client. When I started this, that was my primary focus, was going into businesses. And yeah, it can be meditation, it can be breath work, it can be the fascia release, it can be yoga, it can be an ongoing. I have a lot of companies when it's like quarter end and people are stressed and they're trying to like help improve them out, then I'll go in and do an hour or two session for
Mhm.
them. And I also can work with Rebel Run and Robin Hills. So if people want company events like their company picnic or a meeting, but an outside place, and then add like a mindful aspect to it, to help get that organized, I work with both of them for that.
That's awesome. That would be good.
And everybody can, anybody listening, and we'll have this in the show notes for sure, but it's at eclipseyoga.net. Is that where
Yes.
everybody, people can find all of your, all of the things that we talked about? And I'll have some of this included in the show notes. But you're also on socials like, um, what is that? Instagram and Facebook?
Yes, we're both on Instagram and Facebook. Working on getting on YouTube, just that it's kind of like your video here, right?
Yeah,
You know,
I know. I know.
And
I'm
It's one of those things.
Yeah. I went and looked at our YouTube the other day. I'm like, I got to get this like reorganized a little bit. I tinkered with it. It's better than it was prior, but all of our podcasts get automatically through a feed get added to our YouTube channel. So there is actually stuff getting added regularly to our YouTube channel, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So Chuck, do you want to ask the last question?
Well, sure. Why not? So our last question is the standard one that if anybody's been listening, they know, and that is, what is your perfect Michigan day? So where would you go? What would you do? And what kind of beverage would you finish it off with?
My perfect Michigan day is anywhere on the water with low wind, low 70s on the paddleboard.
Excellent.
And then once I got off the water, a 2-hearted beer.
All right. Excellent. Very
Good
nice.
choice.
Very nice. You hear that, Bells? We need to sponsor Eclipse Yoga.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They should
Awesome.
sponsor one of your retreats.
Yeah, hell yeah, that would be awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
man. We're already...
You definitely make that one, Chuck, wouldn't you?
For sure. Awesome. Well, Rue, thank you again so much for being part of Life in Michigan and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to catch every episode of Life in Michigan. Help us spread the word by rating the show, sharing it with your friends, your neighbors, your family, your mail carrier. Share it with everybody, and leave a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay connected by following us on our website and social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, take care and have a fantabulous day in Michigan.